Colossal coconut crabs may hold clue to Amelia Earhart fate. Does the secret of Amelia Earhart's disappearance lie in the underground haunts of the world's largest land invertebrate? An aerial view of Nikumaroro Island in the Republic of Kiribati. One theory holds that Amelia Earhart made an emergency landing on the island, which teems with coconut crabs. Rob Lyle, National Geographic Channel. Amelia Earhart's fate may be tied to the giant coconut crabs of Nikumaroro, in Kiribati. Members of the National Geographic-sponsored expedition that last searched the island for traces of the pilot, famous for being the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, knew to keep a wary eye out for the enormous crustaceans. Adult coconut crabs are longer than a reporter's notebook, wider than an archaeologist's trowel, and roughly the same size as an explorer's hiking boot. As the largest land invertebrate on the planet, coconut crabs can measure up to 3 feet across and clock in at over 9 pounds. In short, they are too big. A coconut crab on Nikumaroro Island. Gabriel Scarlett, National Geographic. During the day, when expedition scientists do most of their work on the Pacific Oceanic atoll, the crabs are easily avoided. Those that emerge from their burrows into the intense tropical heat spend their time in the shade of the coconut palms, say, or among the branches of the ren trees. Yes, the crabs can climb trees. But at night? The crabs close in on you, says John Kloss, a member of the International Group for Historic Aircraft Recovery, TIRE, and a veteran of more than 10 of the organization's expeditions to the island. If you shine a flashlight, outside the shadow ring there are 1,000 crabs. Or so it can seem. Kloss has learned not to sleep on the ground. Tom King, former chief archaeologist for TIRE, checks soil recovered from a site on Nikumaroro where Earhart may have sheltered. Gabriel Scarlett, National Geographic. Amelia Earhart's remains? Coconut crabs play a key role in TIRE's hypothesis about what happened to Earhart after she and navigator Fred Noonan disappeared over the Pacific Ocean on July 2, 1937, on the third-to-last leg of their world flight. In her own words, Amelia Earhart's record-setting flight, plus a bold prediction. The group posits that when Earhart and Noonan couldn't find Howland Island, the Pacific island about halfway between Hawaii and Australia that they were aiming for, the Aviators landed instead on Nikumaroro. That island, then called Gardner, is surrounded by a reef that could serve as a rough runway. Eventually, the theory goes, Noonan died, the plane floated off the reef, and Earhart was left alone on the island. Except for the crabs. Yeti crabs farm food on. By 1940, the British had established a colony on the island. That year, Gerald Gallagher, the island's colonial administrator, sent a telegram telling his superiors that a partial human skeleton had been found, which is just possibly that of Amelia Earhart, sick. The bones, 13 in total, were sent to Fiji to be examined, and subsequently lost. See this giant land crab attack. Bird coconut crabs are the largest land invertebrates, and their presence on small islands may have a great effect on the nesting behavior of birds. There are 206 bones in an adult human skeleton. What happened to the 193 that weren't found? Evidence points to the coconut crabs, who have earned their nickname robber crabs. When Gallagher described the site of the discovery, he said that coconut crabs had scattered many bones. The omnivorous crabs will eat coconuts, of course, fallen fruit, birds, rodents, other crabs, and carrion. A possible theory. TIRE has performed several experiments to see if the crabs would drag bones back to their burrows. In one, they brought a pig carcass to the island and filmed what happened to it. Crabs, coconut crabs plus the smaller, more numerous strawberry hermit crabs, swarmed the body, removing most of the flesh within 2 weeks. This tells us crabs drag bones, says Tom King, the group's former chief archaeologist, but it doesn't tell us how far. A year after the experiment they discovered some bones had been dragged 60 feet from the body, but they couldn't account for all of the remains. King thinks it's likely that Earhart perished on the island as a castaway. After she died, the crabs consumed her body and dragged her bones into their burrows, except of course for the 13 that Gallagher discovered. These female pilots broke down barriers in aviation. A researcher tags a tree on Nikumaroro Island while a resident coconut crab perches nearby. Gabriel Scarlett, National Geographic. The search for answers continues. On this National Geographic expedition, King and his crew excavated around the base of a wren tree on the southwest portion of the Nikumaroro, where forensic dogs signaled 2 years ago that someone had died. Where is Amelia Earhart? 3 theories but no smoking gun. They didn't find bones then, but this time brought dogs with them from the Canine Forensics Foundation to sniff on other locations near the site, a hole where they think the skull was found, a site where opened clamshells were located, and a site near where the plane may have landed. Once again no remains were discovered, but the team continues to be hopeful that they'll discover the source of the scent that first alerted the dogs, perhaps a long-gone crab's burrow where Amelia Earhart's remains came to rest. The coconut crab, also known as the robber crab or Burgus latro, is the largest land-dwelling arthropod in the world. An adult can weigh up to 4 kilograms and stretch over a meter from leg to leg. They are most commonly found on remote islands across the Indian and Pacific Oceans, where they live among rocky shores and coastal forests. Their powerful claws are strong enough to crack open coconuts, which is how they earned their popular name. These claws can even lift objects heavier than their own body weight. Although they are famous for eating coconuts, coconut crabs are actually omnivores. They also feed on fruits, seeds, and small animals, and sometimes scavenge carrion. They are shy during the day and usually come out at night to search for food. Unlike most crabs, they spend almost their entire adult life on land and will drown if submerged for too long. Coconut crabs grow slowly and can live for more than 60 years. Because of habitat loss and overharvesting in some areas, their populations have declined. As a result, many islands have now introduced protection measures to conserve this unusual and fascinating species.